Buck Denver, man of news here. Welcome back. We're wrapping up our time in the writings. We've learned that God is wise from the book of Job, that there's a book of songs known as Psalms, and that the book of Proverbs shows us how to make good choices in life.
What about the other two books we're looking at today?
Right. We have two more books in the writings, Ecclesiastes and Song of Solomon. Sunday school lady?
Thanks, Phil. Proverbs was the 20th book of the Bible. The 21st and 22nd books are Ecclesiastes and Song of Solomon. Let's take a look at Ecclesiastes. Ecclesiastes is a much shorter book, only 12 chapters.
Was it written by King Ecclesiastes?
No, we don't know for certain who wrote Ecclesiastes, but some clues point back to King Solomon again. What's that word mean, Pastor Paul?
The word Ecclesiastes is the Latin version of the Greek translation of a Hebrew word that describes a person who gathers. In this case, one who gathers people together for a talk.
I think you lost us.
I'm quite sure he did.
Maybe this will help. The book is like a sermon that was given by someone, perhaps King Solomon, to a group of people in Israel. The name of the book comes from the Hebrew word that was what you called a person giving a sermon like this. That's why in English Bibles, the Hebrew word is usually translated the preacher.
So the book is sort of titled The Preacher.
Sort of.
Is it about wisdom, like Proverbs?
It is, but in a very different way.
You see, the preacher, Solomon or whoever he is telling the story of his search for meaning, his search for happiness in a world that can be unkind and confusing. In the very first verse, he says, "Vanity of vanities, all is vanity."
Vanity? What's that mean?
It usually means something like pride. A vain person believes everyone else thinks they're great.
That's usually what it means, but not exactly what it means here.
No, the Hebrew word here is a tricky one, but usually means vapor.
Right, vapor, like a mist or a puff of smoke. Have you ever blown out a candle and then seen a puff of smoke appear?
I have indeed.
Have you ever tried to grab that puff of smoke?
You can't. It just vanishes.
Poof! Gone in an instant.
And that's what the preacher is saying about life. He's looked for meaning and happiness in hard work, but poof, it can be gone in an instant. He's tried friendships, fun, money, pleasure, but poof, they can vanish in an instant. And then comes death, and it's all gone, meaningless.
Sounds like Ecclesiastes is a bit of a downer.
It is and it isn't. So the crowd is probably feeling pretty gloomy by now. Then he wraps up by saying, "So what are we to do in this crazy, mixed-up world? Fear God and follow his commandments."
That's it? That's all he says?
Here's the point of the book. This world is the wrong place to look for real happiness. Life is hard. The world is messed up by sin. Real happiness starts by looking beyond this world to God. So trust God, follow his commandments, and let him worry about everything else. That's where you'll find your meaning in life.
It sounds a lot like Job and all the bad things that happened to him, but he decided to trust God anyway, no matter what.
It is a lot like Job. Ecclesiastes isn't nearly as popular as Psalms or Proverbs because most of it is, well, kind of a downer. But it tells us something important.
That's right. There will be times in your life when things happen that don't make any sense. But God never promised us this world would make sense. If we're only happy when things go well, we'll never be happy for very long. Ecclesiastes shows us the truth about life. It shows us the truth about this broken world. And then it points us to a path to real happiness. Trust God and follow his commands. Look beyond this world and find your happiness in God. That's Ecclesiastes.